all different types of people when you encounter so many different ones. Like me and animals, it's more just when you put aside that like animal instinct of okay, they're hungry, they gotta eat, they gotta survive. Put it in perspective of blockchain, yeah, it's realistically like your public bank book where if someone has that wallet address, so think of a wallet address pretty much as your bank card. I feel like the biggest distraction is myself. Like getting into my head and just maybe overthinking certain things or just hard on myself. First hit, I took like a really bad hit, but I was able to kind of like bounce back and find things. Oh God, and more it's crypto, etc., etc. You gotta click so, and much as one door closed, a whole lot more.
The road was rough and made me tough as fuck. Kept me hungry, kept me humble, what kept me humble.
All right, this is another episode of SAYless doMORE. We got Kadeem on the show. Good to have you on the show. It's been a while.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, that's good. So you just had a birthday. What'd you end up doing for it? Like, what'd you end up doing on your birthday?
See, me for my birthdays, just in general, like from doing events and such, to kind of make it a thing. Deep down, do I mind like too much? I'm not like oh, it's my birthday, you have the world stops for my birthday type of guy. It's just more my lifestyle kind of brought big attention around my birthday.
Yeah, I seen that you were in Miami.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool because originally I did not plan to go there. Just kind of like last second, had a few calls and actually ended up being Miami's blockchain week. Okay. So what they do is they have like a major conference, kind of just how a lot of these crypto Web3 conferences guys will go. They have like the main event, and then surrounding that main event, they have like a few different side events. So after having a few calls, it was brought to our attention that we have to do Miami Blockchain Week. So like, okay, it's planning like a
Two birds, one stone.
you know, planned it. So they had a few events going on there, and then I tapped into some of the guys who I've worked with before and kind of just geared it around. We had the Blockchain Week going on for my company, and then my birthday kind of just, I feel like you said I killed two birds, one stone right there. So it was nice, man.
Yeah, I see that you travel a lot. I see you get out there and, you know, you actually do shit. One of your posts, I seen you, I don't know if you're at a zoo or what it was or something like that. I seen you get real close to some of those animals there.
You know what it is about me and animals? It's like, I've been dealing with such high volumes of people throughout my life, throughout the years. So it's like, I kind of see all different types of people when you encounter so many different ones. And me and animals, it's more just when you put aside that like animal instinct of, okay, they're hungry, they gotta eat, they gotta survive. If you have them in like a properly captivated area, it's nothing but love. So they kind of read.
He's out of there.
Yeah, you know, they kind of read you well. And I'm not there imposing any form of threat. And I used to have a dog, a relatively big one. So I don't know, something about me just thinks that I can handle a big animal. So it doesn't really faze me too much. I more for what I would say for people deal with animals, it's if you don't really want to be beside them, don't, because they can read the probably like you better than he. Their senses are really good. If you don't want to be around them, I would say don't force it.
Yeah.
Just look at them from a distance, whatever the case is. But me personally, like I really like animals. So when I'm there, I feel like they could kind of sense my energy in a sense to where I don't really think anything would go wrong. So
I remember going to Ripley's Believe It or Not. Is it Ripley's Believe It or Not? The
Ripley's Aquarium,
the aquarium that we have downtown. And I was always wondering, I'm like, yo, how come the sharks don't eat the other animals in there? And they said they overfeed them.
And
that's why they're not really into the other animals. They're just swimming around. So tell me about growing up. You have siblings?
Yeah. So I got an older brother, a younger half brother. I grew up mainly around my older brother. Yeah, that was like my main influence in a sense.
Okay.
So I kind of always had that like older atmosphere, older crowd around me. I mean, me and him have like a relatively big age difference. He's 7 years older than me.
Okay.
So with that being said, it's not like I was everywhere with him because I'm still relatively young. But
that changes when you get older.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and then you just see that influence here just around that. I was just always like the younger one growing up. So if I was ever around someone, they were most likely older.
Was he in your ear about certain shit? Like, don't do this, don't do that. Stop chilling with those people. Like, because when you're young, 7 years apart is a big difference. You know what I'm saying? So he's 14, you're 7. he's gonna tell you like, yo, leave that alone. Was he like that, or was he more like off doing his own shit?
I feel like he was more just like a protector, almost like guardian in a sense. More of, you know, if anything's wrong, turn to him type of situation. But when it comes to not doing certain things, no, I was too much of like a wild, free spirit, man. Like the older one who could really tell me not to do something is probably my parents, and even that, you know, I'm gonna live and learn. So he was more of like the live and learn brother. You know, he wasn't necessarily telling me what and what not to do.
Yeah, that's the
But at least if, you know, there ever was a situation or anything, you know.
He's there, bro. Yeah, nothing but better than the brother Barn. So I heard you were talking about blockchain earlier. So for the people who don't know what that is, how would you explain it to them?
So if I were to start with someone who doesn't know what it is, kind of think of it as your public bank book. I know now we're growing, we're moving fast pace. A lot of things are more app based, like even if you're dealing with your banking. But I remember there was a time, if you rewind a few years back, where people would have the actual physical bank book. Yes. So you put your bank book in the ATM. Yes. It would, you know, show all your transactions.
So remember my mom?
So,
Yes.
There was a part of, because, you know, I'm 31 now, but so there's still a part of me that was, you know, interacting with a bank book. Not too long though, probably. You know, when you're like, 18, you open up your own bank account.
Yes.
Situation. So to put it in perspective of blockchain, yeah, it's realistically like your public bank book, where if someone has that wallet address, so think of a wallet address pretty much as your bank card. And if you send money to that bank card, that wallet address, whether it's directly to them, wherever you're transacting with, you can see it on this blockchain. And then the thing about blockchains, there's different ones. We're going to have major, what they would call a layer one. You're going to have your Solana blockchain, Ethereum blockchain, Sui blockchain, which I love, BNB blockchain. So there's a bunch of different.
Which one do you love, Celia?
I love Sui.
Okay. Why is that?
A little biased. I mean, the project that I'm working on, that we're building, so Sui is actually the layer one blockchain that we're building out. And then Carrier One, that's the company that I co-founded. And with that being said, you know, they invested in us as well. So like I said, there's still some bias, I guess, towards that. But realistically, their work kind of speaks for itself at the same time. Their tech is amazing. They're relatively new as well, probably just like a little over a year roughly now. Yeah. Yeah, man, they've been growing super fast. Tech's been amazing. Their marketing, their branding's been amazing. I really do see them being one of probably the major blockchains to come. They've actually moved up relatively fast. They're probably one of the top at least 20, if not 15 as of right now, crypto market current tokens by market cap. So that's a lot to do in a year.
How did you get into this?
How did I get into this? Man. Yeah, okay, where do I start? So I've kind of bought Bitcoin here and there from like the machine and such. Probably first time I probably ever interacted with it was probably in 2015, 2016, roughly, probably late 2015. Knew nothing about it though. Just interacting with the machines, trying to figure it out. But I never really kept any from back in those days. I mean, I wish I did. So I bought it a few times. Didn't really understand it. Didn't really know much about it. Fast forward now a few years, probably about 2018. This forex, it just keeps getting plastered in your face. Whether it's through social media, someone someone's selling a course, whatever the case is. So I didn't really dive too deep into it, but it kind of grabbed my attention every so often. I'm just like, because one thing I did see, especially now going back to crypto, is being like ignorance is just a form of like lacking of knowledge. And I try not to be ignorant towards anything, because if I don't have knowledge on it, I shouldn't speak on it. Yeah. What I don't know, I shouldn't speak on. I should at least learn it first, have some people, maybe some mentors, whatever the case is, tell me something about it, and then I can speak on it. So with that being said, like everyone, you hear forex, people are going to have all different types of stories. People are going to be like, oh, it's that, whatever the case is. But I'm like, okay, let me look into it for myself. Let me see what this stuff is all about. And with that being said, you kind of learn like how chart patterns work. And once you tap into one market, you kind of got to tap into other markets, because especially with forex, a lot of world issues affect that market because you're dealing with currencies. I'm not a forex genius. I just more stepped into it, looked into it, and it kind of opened the doors for me now to get into the Web3 crypto space. But run your reading chart patterns, whether it's crypto, forex, stocks, everything's relatively the same when it comes to even the terminology, just reading trends, how that works. So that's originally where I started. Didn't really make no money, if anything, lost money, but it's just like small, like nothing crazy. Maybe over time it leads up to a decent amount, but nothing like crazy. Definitely lost in it though. But you kind of just live and learn, you're practicing. And because you're using a little bit of money in it, you actually get to see live, what's happening. And then even when you lose money, you're like, okay, but if I did this a little differently, maybe I could have made a decent amount.
Yeah. She's excited.
Yeah, so that's kind of what opened my eyes to just like how markets work. Didn't really have no success story in it though. But then fast forward a little bit now, I brought that knowledge kind of over to crypto. So now in 2019, I'm kind of learning more. Still only knew like the major ones, like your Bitcoin, Ethereum, like the top 10 ones, your Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRPs and such, Solana, BNB, but bias one. So with that being said, when I made that transition, I'm just kind of diving deeper into like the fundamentals of what crypto actually is. Because like I mentioned before, when I was buying in 2016 or whatever the case is here and there, basically nothing. But when I was buying it back then, I didn't understand what it was. Now, when you fast forward to 2019, I'm spending a lot of time just diving deeper into what it is, and then boom, COVID hits. So for that first transition, me living in Canada, when COVID hit in March 2020, from March 2020 to about the ending of May, you really couldn't like do anything, especially living in Canada. So at that point, it was just whatever you can do from home. So I had a little bit extra time. I'm like, hey, you know what? Let me really dive into this. Now that I already had like a little bit of money, the case is sitting inside of this. Let me really dive deeper into what actually crypto is, really understand it. Before I have my understanding, but now let me understand, how smart contracts work, how you can actually go about coding, cryptocurrencies, where it actually stems from, how they can even transact with one another. So after doing all of that and learning the fundamentals and learning exactly what it is, now you become a more competent investor. So I would say that really like was a staple of when I kind of started investing in crypto. But even that, you have your success, you have your downs. Like you're still learning, you're still getting the groove of things, especially when it comes to trading cryptocurrencies. That's like a whole different ball game, because now you could be dealing with things like leverage and all different forms of like, I could get really technical with it, but I'm not going to go overboard.
Well, brother, people need knowledge, right? So there's a lot of people that like, for instance, for me, when it comes to cryptocurrency, I got kind of me checking my phone every 2 seconds. Really, it takes a lot on your brain. Like it's a lot. Like it's overwhelming. Like every so often, I'm checking my phone, especially now. The fact that Trump was coming into office, around those times, I'm checking my phone. I've been there already. It could get really overwhelming, right? So there's a lot of people that, like, for me, I think that era of becoming rich off of Bitcoin overnight, I think that's done. That's my personal opinion, right? But I do feel like there's these coins out there that people don't know about that could, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But other than that, how did you, like, who was your biggest influence? Because you have to have somebody that influenced you to like kind of, yo, bro, Bitcoin's where it's at, or Bitcoin's where it's at. They always have that one person that's always in your ear, like making you feel like the super waste guy. Like, what are you doing? You don't have Bitcoin yet?
That's me now. I'm that guy who's always in people's ear, like, yo, you need to get some, at least something. That's like me now. But I mean, I wish, like, if it's one thing that people shouldn't be like ever afraid to do, is have a mentor or have someone who you could actually like trust to a certain degree, and love the fact that you could listen to them and obtain any form of knowledge. And I wish I could get here and say, okay, there's this XYZ guy who's just preaching to me, but that really wasn't the case. What really happened, as much as I hate to say it because of like the storyline behind the movie, but it's not necessarily how and what he did within that movie, because to be honest, a lot of the financial markets are relatively the same to the movie, and the movie I'm referring to is Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes. You're gonna say that.
with that being said, like it's not the grifty part more that I'm looking at. It's more of just understanding that there is money to be made. And it's how do you go about making it? And, you know, I remember at one part in that movie, I must have watched that movie over 100 times. But I remember
I'm gonna rewatch that. I'm gonna rewatch it again.
And I watched that movie years because it's at this point, I can't remember when it came out, but it is relatively old now. So I watched it like a few years back before COVID. And I was younger because, like I said, right now I'm on 31. I was younger, and it did stick with me and resonate with me the way it did back then, as how it did in 2020, and of course now. But 2020 is really when I watched it like a few times, and that's kind of when it resonated with me. Where I'm like, okay, he's talking penny stocks. To relate penny stocks to like meme or altcoins, it's relatively same. And then you had your blue chip stocks that are like your Teslas, your Apple, your Bitcoins. So a lot of these things kind of, you know, intertwine with each other, and it starts to make sense. So you're just grasping the overall, like I said, not necessarily what he's doing, but just the overall concept of how markets work. And then, you know, his story, he's like 26 or something in the movie.
Yes.
A lot of age. I know it was years ago, but regardless, you know, what he did within that movie, it's a good eye opener.
Yes.
And I feel like after I watched that a few times, it really made me like, okay, let me really lock in with these markets and really see what's going on. And man, it was great because besides even like, forget about even the money or anything like that, it really makes you understand the world and how the world operates and just how cycles work, how markets repeat themselves, how history repeats themselves, why big players are making certain moves, why they're making certain decisions, why housing markets are crashing, why they're going up. So when you grasp that sense of how markets work and how they're intertwined with and related to real life global issues, man, it really opens your eyes. And like, I could sit here and speak, I'm no politician, but I could sit here and dive into that as well. But it's like, it just really makes you really understand, like, okay, let me keep my loved ones really close to me.
Yes.
You know, this world could be, you know, who knows what didn't have to allow you.
When you start making investments, I realize that's when you start tapping into what your country or what the world is doing.
Yeah.
Like you really, certain things start to affect you. You see what I'm saying? Like something very simple, like just going to the grocery store and seeing the price change of everything is just like, it's still mind blowing.
Yeah, man. Like before 2020, if you tried to ask me this stuff, like I didn't know nothing of realistically. If anything, it's just I'm trying to put together like conspiracies or whatever the case is. But when you really understand like how markets work and how history works, it really
does
your eyes. It really opens your eyes to even how politics work, why war happens, who's investing in these companies, why weaponry stocks will explode before certain. So it really makes you question a lot of things. You know, I'm not here to be like the next like politician or anything like that, but like I said, it really makes you just open your eyes to what the world is and what you can also achieve out of it. And you kind of got to think like these big players to be a big player. So you're watching what these big players are doing, watching what these major companies are doing, and you're just really understanding why.
Yes.
The why that they're doing. So,
there's a segment of the show that there's a segment of the show that I want to speak about. Chat GPT. You heard of it? So what I do is I take your name, and I run it through and see what pops up, and if it's correct or not. Let people know if it's correct or not. So it says Kadeem is a marketing entrepreneur with over a decade of experience in marketing and events. He has expertise in growing and managing cryptocurrency communities and has been involved in multiple crypto and NFT projects that have achieved significant trading volumes. That's correct?
that's correct.
Yeah, because I did it with somebody before, and some of it was ours, but some of it
though.
yes, bro. Yeah, bro. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, bro.
No.
So now, Bomb. Enough about working. We'll probably touch back on it. What's a daily routine for you like?
Daily routine. for me, it's like I have portions where it might be relatively similar, and then I have portions where it's all over the place.
Yeah.
What I could tell you is one thing that doesn't change is I have my smoothie almost every single day.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a lot of actually, definitely not a lot of bad habits. If anything, maybe I used to, because coming from events, every weekend you're out, and even when you don't want to drink, sometimes the drinks are just there. You're drinking a little bit. I definitely don't drink nearly as much as I used to, because I don't go out like as much as I used to. I have a great team now who will take down when I'm not here, whether I'm here. So I don't go out necessarily as much as I used to. I'd never really ever been like a by myself drinker. That's really only like if I went out and out, because I don't go out as much. I don't really drink any alcohol. I used to smoke every so often here and there, but I only bring this up because I have my smoothie every day, so I got to balance out any form of bad habits. At least make sure that's some form of healthiness going on. So I don't really eat a lot of junk. My regular day is kind of, if we're talking about like consumption wise, I don't really eat a lot of junk food. I could though, and it probably won't really, thank you that I have these dreams, but I mean, it probably won't really affect me too much if I did. But at the same time, I just don't. I kind of try to take care of my health where I can.
So you eat 3 times a day?
3 times a day?
Yeah. But it's hard to eat. $50. It's hard to eat. When you're on the go.
It is. I still say I do though, just because I wake up relatively early. So if I didn't eat at least 3 times, I'd probably be. I'm one of those guys that like, if I don't eat for a while, my mood's gonna get thrown off.
Yeah.
I am one of those guys that do like, that hangry thing can be a thing.
Yes.
So I'd rather just feel good, have a meal, even if it's like, don't get me wrong, sometimes I do definitely eat shitty. Like I don't eat McDonald's, not to diss McDonald's, but I don't eat McDonald's or like fast food. But I'll dive into like the Wendy's every so the Popeyes every so often. So not to say I eat completely clean, but majority of my meals are like, I'd rather like, that's my weakness. It's not jewels, it's not cars, it's not food is like my weakness. So when you to answer your question, do I eat 3 times a day? Like, if it was up to me, I eat 8 times a day. But it's just, your lifestyle, of course, sometimes doesn't get to go like that. But that's my weakness.
You like food, so you kind of like enjoy food. Like I'll have a little bit here, there. Then they have food over there. Let me go over there.
And I like good food. So that's my weakness. Everyone has like their vice, I guess. Some people like party, and some people do drugs, whatever it is. It's me. It's food. I probably spend a decent amount on food.
What's your biggest distraction?
Distraction?
Yeah, like for me, I'll give you an example. For me, bro, if they were to have good boxing matches on every day, I'd be fucked. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the world stops when boxing goes on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yesterday, before this interview, I watched the boxing match, and then there's a 1-2 things that I needed to do. But I'm like, after this match, man, like after this match, and then I need to see the whole thing, like from the undercards, because I'm a real big boxing fan, right? So it's just like, like in that sense, that's why I'm asking you, what's this thing that you feel that you need to tighten up on when it comes to distractions?
Man, that's a hard one, because so you're talking about this current phase of my life or prior, or both?
You know what? Let's talk about prior, because I feel like a lot of people this day and age have distractions. So let's talk about how you dealt with those distractions back then and overcome them. Like for instance, right? On another example I could give you about is weed smoke. So I know a guy that used to wake up, smoke weed. And they smoke weed. Like, any little chance I bored for a second, and I didn't realize that was becoming a distraction. You see what I'm saying? I'm becoming passive. I'm not really saying, okay, don't worry about it, it's fine. But if I didn't smoke, I'd be like, nah, we can't do that. No, that's not happening.
And that's why I kind of asked if it was a prior question or a current question, because prior years ago, like a while ago, kind of the same thing. If I were to answer that question, I did used to smoke, not like over the top amount, but I did smoke a relatively decent amount to where I don't want to say it's a distraction, but the passive part. was a big thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes certain things that you shouldn't be okay with, you're okay with. And it could slow you down in certain sets. So it didn't necessarily slow down my work, but it did slow down like how okay I could be with certain outcomes. So I feel like that was one. And then I grew up really fast. Like I started doing events at like when I was in high school, like all age events and such. So when you are around, like I mentioned before, high volumes of people a lot, you know, yeah, people are hitting you left, right, and center. So it's not even necessarily that it's me personally that wants to go out and do certain things, but when you have so many people hitting you left, right, and center, I don't want people to feel like I'm dissing them or what you face things. Sometimes you just gotta be out in there. So like, yeah, I don't necessarily want to say girls are a distraction, but you know, it's really easy to
Get distracted. Yeah, man. This, you know.
when you're being in like an entertainment lifestyle, sometimes too, it's like you see a lot. So it can get thrown in front of you, but I don't like to say it was a distraction because at the same time, it kind of opened a lot of doors for the things that I'm doing today. So yeah, man, it's a hard one. I feel like the biggest distraction is myself.
Yeah.
Like getting into my head and just maybe overthinking certain things or just hard on myself. Like I feel like I am like my biggest opponent.
How do you deal with negativity?
Negativity?
Yeah, like negative, you know, because it kind of falls hand in hand, right? Like for instance, if you see, like I knew certain people I had to leave them alone. Like, you know what I mean? Some people just, you know, you gotta leave them alone.
That's probably the best. Like I said, I don't expect anybody to be as hard on themselves as I am on mine. And that's basically what I do with negativity. I just kind of isolate myself. I hate when people look at it as necessarily I'm feeling a way about them. And maybe that's on me to be more vocal. But yeah, like if it's any form of negativity or even not even just negativity, sometimes even positivity, like that's like my biggest motivator. When I like fulfill something, I'm like, okay, what's next?
Yes.
And then I gotta lock in, I gotta isolate myself. So to be honest, I'm just kind of like I have those times where I'm, you know, outgoing here, there, etc. And then I have those portions where I'm just like strict to myself. Gotta lock in, gotta focus, gotta get the job done. So negativity, I feel like it's a personal thing. I feel like I could deal with it a lot better than the average person. I only say that because I can be relatively understanding. Because I've dealt with so much different people, male, females, and I try to be as understanding as possible just because I am so hard on myself and I don't expect people to be like that. So I kind of just, man, I just don't think about it. Like, and with that being said, I've met a lot of guys, especially right now, like in the last like 3 years of my life, started like doing some really big things. And, you know, not to mention any names, but sometimes they have their bad stories. Like there's a lot of guys sometimes who might be able to Google them and they have maybe one bad story on them that isn't the greatest. But then I have my interaction with some of these guys and man, they're some of the biggest hearted, nicest, like take me out sometimes, like all types of stuff going on. So when you have negativity in your life, you kind of just, as hard as it might be, you kind of just got to turn a blind eye to it. So like the bigger your goals are, the more negativity you're going to face. So you kind of just got to understand what you want out of life. And if it is big goals, you got to just know that the negativity is going to happen. No matter how much you might try for it not to happen, it's going to happen.
So when I creating this show, kind of like, I see like the youth is kind of lost. They are lost. Kind of, but they are lost.
You know what? The youth, they're lost, but they're lost in their own direction at the same time. Like, at the end of the day, you're always going to get a core of people who are going to be lost. Even if you go back to like before the youth, drugs sometimes is a big thing for certain people. I know the youth is still doing their different forms of drugs, but the youth, I don't like, as crazy as it seems, I think it's in our eyes because we're older, a little older, and we see it. So we look at it a bit more as lost. But then sometimes I try to look back and I'm like, hey, you know what? They're young and they're kind of lost in their own direction. They kind of created a new avenue. Like for instance, streaming as an example. That wasn't too big back then. Or I don't want to say back then like I'm some grandpa. But back then as in like our generation type of situation. But now that just created a whole fun, like a whole avenue for young guys to make money, So it's like, as wild as some of it looks and as cringe as some of certain things are, and how much I know I wouldn't do certain things, at the end of the day, like I still look at it sometimes as they're young. I know some of the nonsense I was doing when I was young, and you kind of got to just live and learn. And at least if it's working for you, it's a different story if you're lost and like your life's in shambles and nothing's going on for you. But if you're lost in your own direction, but at least if it's kind of working for you, I've pivoted so many different times. There's nothing, as long as they don't ruin themselves in that process, there's nothing stopping them.
Step It Up footwear isn't just a brand, it's a movement designed for those who don't follow trends, to set them. You don't just walk through life, you step into it with purpose, with confidence, with style that speaks before you say a word. Whatever your grind is, step up, stand out, and never settle. Step It Up footwear. When you move, make it mean something. Street ready, workout tested, made to match your hustle.
The thing is too, is it's them taking the advice of somebody that's been there and done that. And I kind of look back at my life and I kind of look at it and see that there's certain people that were trying to steer me right. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, I grew up in government housing. So my perspective on certain things was kind of like tainted right off the bat. You know what I mean? Because my parents are screaming struggle, but I'm seeing my friends with jewelry and different cars and women, and I'm just like,
what's going on?
Yeah, what's going on here? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I just feel like the youth these days, they definitely could use some guidance in the sense of like so they don't make the mistakes that we made. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, for instance, you're talking about cryptocurrency earlier, and if just imagine you had somebody to guide you. Like, you were open to hear certain things, and like you said, you're buying Bitcoin. You didn't know why you were buying it, right? So imagine you had somebody there to be like, But the thing is, you could have probably had that person there, but would you have listened to them? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like I'm trying to bring awareness to at the same time to let these youths know, like, yo, somebody's walking in the same shoes that you're walking in. You know what I'm saying? Is on the same journey that you're on, and they need to hear, like, yo, it's okay. Yeah. I'm on the right path. Oh, he feels that way too.
That's like a big thing right there. Why it's like one thing is to be lost, another thing is to just be lost and like in your own world and not hearing anything. And that kind of stems back to the point I brought up earlier, where it's like, I wish I could have I could bring up some great business partners that I've worked with, but can I sit here and say like I had an OG mentor who was like, no, this is what you need to do, or like.
By the way, I agree with the mentor thing. Yeah, I think that is very.
I wish, man, that I could be like, yo, I gotta give it to this guy. Like he mentored me throughout. Like, don't be afraid to give people their flowers.
Yeah.
And at the same time, giving the people your flowers, they're gonna appreciate that, and they're gonna mentor you even better. So, with that being said, yeah, like you mentioned a really good point, man. And they don't necessarily want to hear certain things, but man, as anybody who's lived and learned, especially like certain things, if you're in your own ego, whatever the case is, you want to take it with a grain of salt, sure. But at least hear out everyone's point of view and depict and decipher what you can out of what everyone's saying. And if it becomes to the point where people are saying similar things, it's like, okay, maybe everyone's saying this for a reason. Maybe I gotta make an adjustment, or maybe I gotta smarten up in a certain sense, or whatever the situation might be. So yeah, man, if it's one thing everyone should try to have is someone you could actually trust to a well degree, who could be like a mentor or a OG or whatever you want to call them. Those are great. They could help you, get around a lot of potentially issues. Might be able to fast track what you got going on, help you make better decisions. So
someone just think they've done that.
Yeah, that's big. And people. If you do have one, be happy you have one. You know, give that OG, give that mentor their flowers. You know, tell them you appreciate that, because there's a lot of times where situations could be avoided if you just had someone here just telling you, yo, this is what you need to do, and you can avoid a lot. And if you just listen to them, you never know what you could take from that. So,
Tell me 3 adjustments that you had to make when you're at your lowest point of your life. Like, was there a time where you're like, fuck, man, I need to get shit together right now? You know what I mean? Yo, I have to cut this habit. I need to cut this person off, or whatever. Let me know.
see, for me, I kind of got to break out lowest points. And when I say that, I kind of got to differentiate like physical lowest point, maybe like financial lowest point, and like mental lowest point. Because just because maybe I was physically at my lowest point didn't mean maybe my financials weren't good, or like I'm still mentally fine, but like physically I'm like great. So I'll go through probably each 3. I feel like it's good to break.
Yeah.
So we'll start with physical. Physical. This is like years of like super years. They'll probably at least, I'm not saying one, but at least like 21, like 11, 12 years ago. So my last like regular like full-time job, or like last job where I had to like be on site or anything like that, was probably when I was like 17 or 18 years old. Right now I'm 31. 17 or 18, sorry, I can't remember, but I worked at a warehouse. And this is kind of when I was like making that transition into my life. Like I mentioned before, I was kind of already doing like all age events, such and such, but now it's more of you're doing these events plus other doors. This is like literally kind of what opened up like who I started becoming. And because so much was happening, I'm working in a warehouse. Back then I was smoking weed, and then I'm doing that, and then I'm trying to make money, and like I'm not stopping. So there was no eating clean, there was no gym, there's no none of that. So like physically, like you could see it. I was like, other people didn't really say anything to me, but like me seeing myself every day, like I just see it. Like I was getting slimmer. I was not sleeping. I'm sleeping for like 2 hours, and then I'm not sleeping because I'm working so hard to get it done. And then like even so, this was kind of more where I was like making that transition to like even like go to my parents' house. And with that being said, I remember like my father and me, like I grew up even in high school more with my father. I'm dead more open on this than I do with people.
Yeah,
It's just look, this is so real organic shit.
You're gonna be helping someone, man.
No, for sure. So yeah, man, like I grew up in high school, for instance, like my parents split. I grew up with my father, but still had a really good relationship with both my parents. But like I mentioned, at like 17, 18, like my father was moving. So I actually had to stay with my grandmother for a little bit. And yeah, that's when I was like, yeah, no sleep, man. I was just literally just working nonstop, whether it's at the job location or whether it's outside of the job. So like I said, yeah, 2 hours at the night. If I'm lucky, I might go the whole night without sleeping. Then maybe I'll get like a 2 hour, 3 hour nap in the day or whatever the case was. That so physically, that was probably like my lowest point. Now we could fast forward to maybe financially. I'm not gonna go that far back because I'm a kid and responsibility.
Yeah,
the same. Like
well, let's talk about the mental aspect.
Mental aspect.
The mental aspect, because I feel a lot of men have a lot of weight on their shoulders and a lot of responsibilities, and a lot of men don't know how to handle it. They get frustrated easily.
I'm gonna leave that with the last one because that's like the most important one. That's what I was gonna say. Let me do the financial work because I want people to understand like I'm still human.
Yeah,
I have my ups and my downs, brother cases like everybody else. So I feel like not everyone, but a lot of people, you know, COVID kind of slapped them. And the reason for that was because I made like a really large investment right prior to COVID. I actually got my first venue. So I actually owned it was like a nightclub and lounge restaurant in Yorkville. It was called Figures. I got that 2019 November. Yeah.
Cool.
In November. So all the, you know, the work of trying to do events, such and such, you know, it kind of got to the goal that I always saw myself doing, which was, getting a venue. So that happened. I became partners with, shout out to the guys who I owned it with, great guys, great individuals. 2019 November. And then March 2020, COVID hit. So you just make a really large investment. You had a nice little run and boom, collapse COVID. Like, what is that? What does that even mean? Right. So took a big loss there. And then, other stuff going on. But at the end of the day, a lot of the financial revenue at the points were like event based, or like, even if they're not my personal events, helping people orchestrate things, whether you're playing a middleman. By the way, I take great pride in being a middleman. I know the middleman kind of gets downplayed.
Yeah, the middleman gets downplayed.
But I take great pride in it.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. Being a connector is great, especially when you're a connector and you have like genuine, pure intentions too. People love you that much more. You're willing to help you a lot more as well. So I take great pride in it. But excuse me. With that being said, yeah, financially took a big hit. But then at the same time, that opened a lot of doors for other things. Like, for instance, I had a studio that I was running. I had like a recording studio and such, office space. I never really like marketed it crazily because it was more just like somewhere where people could feel comfortable, where they could come, they could get their work done and just not have to worry about it. Especially in the city when you're dealing with music, sometimes there's politics and such. So I didn't like to overly market it to where people didn't feel comfortable coming.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like your big studio with like the big board and so. It was like about like inclined.
Time has changed, brother.
Yeah.
That's changed, you know? Yeah.
So with that being said, that boomed though, because no one had nowhere else to go. So like, I was throwing events in there. I was doing all types of events in there. And then also I was having guys come by record such and such. That was booming. I had a few other things that were booming. So like when COVID first hit, I took like a really bad hit, but I was able to kind of like bounce back and find things, got more into crypto, et cetera, really quick. So as much as one door closed, a whole lot more opened up. So I really feel it's more of just like the really start of COVID. That was probably like my financial hit. And then after that, I kind of got back into some of the things and back through it. Mentally, yeah, this is a good one because, like I said, when it comes to negativity and just things mentally, I feel like I deal with it a lot better than an average person because I'm very understanding when it comes to that. And I don't expect people to deal with things mentally the way I do. I'm trying to think of my lowest point mentally though, because now when you're trying to be an entrepreneur and you're trying to make things happening, like sometimes everything looks great, but then there's times where things aren't great. But you gotta really, remember why you're doing this, remember what your goals are, try to stay strong. So to be honest, I'd say my lowest point mentally, it might be probably a few months ago, maybe like with my friends. And what that is because I'm one of the guys where I kind of have like two ends of the spectrum for me. I either like really care a lot, even with my work, like I either really care a lot or I don't care at all. I don't really like to go in between. I kind of like either give my all or not at all. So like even with my friends, I feel like we're cool now and such, but we had like a little misunderstanding. And for the people who I actually like love, I actually have like some real care for it. It hurts me in a different way, and like it makes me feel a different way when I actually have like the greatest intentions for you, and then like a misunderstanding or something happens. So as someone who's trying to accomplish goals, you can't let like the outsider stuff get to you, because like I said it before, I've heard some bad stories about certain people, but then when I meet them, they're great. So like I try to I don't care what I heard about somebody, to be honest. Like I really don't care. I'm in every single person the benefit of the doubt and their individual chance to show me their characteristics. I don't care if someone ran their name through the dirt, because that might have been from a place of hurt, might have been a place of maybe that person was up, back to our topic. Maybe that person was in a bad state of mind, at their lowest point. So I don't really listen to outside. I don't listen to gossip. I don't listen to any of that. I give everyone like a fair chance to prove themselves to me, and vice versa. I don't care if unless you're a drug addict, I give everyone the same respect. You can be poor, rich, whatever you are. And I give you a chance to prove your characteristics. And then at that point, I'm going to judge you based off how our interaction went. So yeah, man, with that being said, mentally, probably like a few months ago, I got some real love for some of the guys that are in my circle. Family, like I remember I had years ago, there was this one where used to say, "Oh, you're a family man" type of situation, and like I feel like even myself, I'm misunderstood a lot. I've had people come up to me and tell me all different types of things. Oh, you look intimidating. Oh, you look like my eyes are like maybe like a tad bit chink. My mom's dad he has Chinese in him, so like maybe my eyes sometimes like they don't look maybe a little intimidating or whatever the case is. But yeah, I feel like I'm misunderstood a lot. My heart is a lot bigger than it might be portrayed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you know what? The way I was introduced to you,
yeah.
My friend introduced me and he's just like, yeah, that's that guy. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to talk about it on camera, but he's like, yeah, that guy really did. And I'm just looking at, I'm a person that sits back and I watch people's demeanor and how they are. And I'm like, yo, you seem like a very quiet person. You come to like where I met you was at the gym. You know what I mean? You go to the gym, you do what you do, you leave. Then from me getting introduced to you, you always said hi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Very respectful. You carry yourself very well. Like, you know, there's some guys that carry themselves a different way, pants down to their knees. You know what I mean? Like you very clean cut.
Yeah.
That's one thing I gotta say about you. Real clean
I
cut.
appreciate that.
So yeah, man. I don't get the I don't see the intimidating side, but I can, like, fuck, man. It's sad to say, a lot of people find black people intimidated. You know what I mean?
No.
It's sad to say, cause one time me and a friend went out, and we were gonna sit at the bar, and the lady had her purse beside her on the bar stool, and the first thing she did was just grab it while we weren't even sitting there. We were walking by. And then she just grabbed it, and my friend is a very cool, laid-back person. He could turn the other cheek, but I could tell that really bothered him, And he's a money man, so he wanted to be, like, I know he wanted to be ignorant, but he did it, But one thing I can say about you, brother, is you're very, like I said, very clean-cut, very well-mannered. Yeah, man, very well-mannered. What's a passion that you have outside your field?
So like outside of work?
Outside of work. Let's talk about outside of work.
Passion, outside of work. I mean, health is a big one. Even though right now I kind of took a really, I've been slacking a lot recently.
Why were you on the boat so crazy in the summer? I was supposed to look with you. Didn't end up happening, but you're killing the yachts this summer.
Yeah, I mean, we got a yacht. Me and my brother are operating that. Back to the brother big guy. He kind of does more of like the captain work. I'm more there as like the, watching, making sure everyone's good, making sure no one does nothing stupid, hurts themselves, or whatever the case is. But yeah, because you got the boat, it's like if you can make money off of it and enjoy it, it's like why not?
Yeah.
So at that point,
I see these yacht parties be getting kind of hectic.
They do,
yeah,
and that's exactly why I'm there, making sure everyone relax a little bit. Like after fun, yeah, do your thing, but don't get too crazy. Because if anything gets too crazy, I'm gonna have to be the one jumping in the water. It's serious. Don't get too crazy. But yeah, even after COVID, I feel that made a big hit. Like I wasn't operating then, but I feel like that made like a nice transition for Toronto, where people had to find other things to do, and people started booking yachts, and then it just made like a whole scene in Toronto. So yeah, like last year was great. Last year was like the best year, yacht wise, because before that, kind of got lucky with the purchase. Even they kind of just wanted to get rid of the yacht, so got it for a relatively nice price. Obviously, the yacht is still expensive, but I mean, I got it for a good price, and each year we kind of make slow different renovations. So last year was like the biggest year that we made the most renovations. This year I want to make more, and then the next year after made more. But last year we made some of the biggest renovations. So with that being said, kind of felt more comfortable like putting it out. And yeah, when I put it out, man, people were they love the yachts, man. It's a nice vibe. It's a chill party, whatever the case is. So yeah, no, this summer with the yachts was a really good one.
Are you still doing do you still have your hand in venues or club promotion?
Oh, for sure. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, that will still probably be like where my heart's at, because I have to give respect to that. It opened the doors for everything.
That is a sick way to network too, right?
You connect with different individuals and such. So that's still where my heart is. It's just in different ways. Like more on like the grand scheme, bigger scale, not necessarily being in the nightclub every single weekend type of stuff where I was on maybe like a few years ago. It's more of just, yeah, like I can never completely put that aside, even if it translates. Like I've done a few corporate events, even if it went fully corporate, but I'm still in nightlife or concerts, whatever the case might be. It can be your telecommunication company. It can be literally any company, a major liquor brand. Every big company is still doing events. You know, it might not be the same style of that, but it's still an event. So with that being said, I don't necessarily see myself ever completely leaving that. It's kind of what, like I said, what got me to who I am.
So promotion and venues is the same, is hand in hand.
Yeah, and this is kind of why I take pride in, like I said, being the middleman, because when you're the middleman, you're not just like an event planner, promoter, anything. You're like an agent. You know, you're helping venues get artists. Everyone understands where the money's getting made, how much the agent's getting made, where the kicks is. So you can act as an agent. You can act as an event planner. You can act as a promoter. I'm more on like the event planning side. I wouldn't necessarily call myself even like an agent. It's just because being in the scene for so long, you start to connect with different individuals. So let's say a venue might need to reach out to a certain artist, a liquor brand, or whatever the case is. I could kind of act as that middleman to where, to where I'm help facilitating a lot of these different deals. So, like I said, man, being a middleman, it's great. I don't think that term or word should be downplayed or like dissed at all.
Yeah.
I feel like it should be really great because when you're the middleman, you're really like
The reason why it's just gonna happen.
exactly, and you know a lot of weight is on your shoulders, and when you fulfill that, it's like not only did you fulfill it, maybe you made a new relationship now, and like you know it exposes you to avenues to be able to make a lot of relationships. So yeah, man, I'd say that's a good one I heard.
Singapore, Tokyo, Bangkok, St. Lucia, Dubai, Bahamas, Miami, Atlanta. Top 3 locations. And why? Yeah, and why? I'm getting these all from your Instagram. But
There's a few there that are not there.
I'm not there, but tell me your top 3 locations that you're reading, yeah, and why?
Dubai, for sure.
Why?
Okay, I'll say the top 3, then I'll say why.
Okay.
Dubai for sure.
Yeah.
Damn, sorry. If you asked me this question like 5 years ago and before, I'd say Miami for sure.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of having mixed feelings. I still love Miami, yeah, but like, I don't know. Singapore's up there, but I feel like Singapore is biased just because what I was doing in Singapore. So maybe like my time there was better than like maybe someone else's experience.
Oh, God, okay.
A lot there. So I want to say Singapore, but I can't say it strongly yet. I have to probably go there. Like I've only been there twice.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to go again, like by myself almost, and just really, I'm like on some chill, relaxed type instead of out and about, just to really like see Singapore and like feel the culture and feel what's going on. I love Thailand. Phuket, actually more than Bangkok. I feel like I grew up in the city so much to where now that I'm getting older, I actually like the more reserved, chill, relaxed, state-style rural areas. So I actually enjoy Phuket more than Bangkok, to be honest. Bangkok is more of like city feel, kind of more like going on in a sense. Phuket is more like beach, you like excursions, you like relaxed vibe. So I actually liked it there a lot. And I, at the same time too, back to me being a foodie, I love Asian food, all types of Asian food. So that was good for me. You could get great food for cheap. And super cheap.
How do they treat Canadians out there?
The thing about as of me being like a Black Canadian, anywhere I go, I feel like they're first thinking I'm American.
Yeah, yes.
American first, Canadian maybe second.
Yes.
So I don't feel like people actually know until I tell them.
Yeah.
Maybe they do.
What's the reaction like? Oh, like.
But when you do tell them you're Canadian, they're like, oh, Canada.
Yeah.
It's usually,
They think you're really nice.
It's usually a good response. I haven't really had a bad experience telling anyone I'm Canadian. I mean, these days, who knows? But I've never had a bad experience telling I'm Canadian. So yeah, they treat Canadians great. Yeah, and these places that I just mentioned, crime rate is like next to nothing.
Yeah.
Like you can go there
By yourself.
and just be male or female. You can go to Singapore, Thailand, Dubai, and just not have to worry about like almost anything happening to you or even whether it's to you or someone else, even being around something where something's gonna happen, like you kind of just live free in that sense.
You went to Paris before the Olympics, after the Olympics? When was it?
Right before, like I left, like as it was happening.
So did you hear about the water? What is it? Were they saying it was the water or the couple of swimmers got sick because Paris is dirty or something? Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I did.
So what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I was saying Paris is probably one of the biggest pump fakes, but at the same time, Paris is kind of like a similar scenario to Singapore, where what brought me there was like I didn't necessarily go there for like vacation. There's a Paris blockchain week, so I was there going to a lot of their like different side events. So like I mentioned before, there's always like that main like conference event, usually with these Web3 conferences. And
I tried to meet up with you on my.
oh yeah, it's kind of that same similar concept though. They have that main conference, and then throughout the week, or at least within like a 4-day radius, normally they'll have different like side events at different venues. So me going to Paris, kind of biased because what brought me there was work, and then a lot of times these Web3 side events, they're kind of spoiled communities. Like they're not like some of even events I've been to. Like I've been to all different types of events, but it's very spoiled. And when I say spoiled, in a sense where like you eat free, you drink free, you get in free. It's usually at a nice venue. So, you know, I kind of got like a good experience. But at the same time, me getting to these venues, I'm seeing Paris, and like I'm taking a walk through the streets, and I'm seeing them like, okay, yeah, I kind of get why people said it could be a little dirty. Like I saw a big dead rat like sitting out one step one time. And and then one time I was walking again, I seen like a few mice like run into like a little side. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it now. I get it.
So it gave you some Watu's Hangxing vibe.
Yeah, but even then, like, see, like I go downtown a lot too, but like, yeah, when you're downtown, you'll see like, you know, so often if you're like behind a restaurant, a dumpster, you might see like a little mice, but like I was actually like walking the street and seeing a few just running out of nowhere. I'm like, okay, I get it now. But I was only there for like, it wasn't even a full week.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly, but I know it wasn't a full week.
Imagine though how it probably stayed after the Olympics.
Yeah, it probably would have got even more backseat. But and who knows, maybe the nightlife would have increased. So
yeah, because it was a thing. It was on the news. It was on the news heavy. They were talking about like the swimmers getting sick. I even seen this video of one of the runners. She's like, "Don't film me because I shit myself." She was running on one of those marathon runs, you know. But
yeah. So then, yeah, I have different. I still liked it, but you know, I get why people could say certain.
Advertise on SAYless doMORE TV podcast. Are you a brand looking to connect with an engaged audience? Advertise on the SAYless doMORE TV podcast and showcase your brand to listeners who value authenticity and real stories. Rates start at $25 for more details. DM us on Instagram at SAYlessdoMORE.tv or email us at admin@SAYlessdoMORE.tv. Also, don't forget to follow us on all our platforms and share this commercial with someone who owns a brand. Like, share, and subscribe. Let's grow together.
why do you still live in Canada?
I still live in Canada. I feel like I owe it to this city. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of people that, man, despite whatever you do, you could be the biggest artist in the world, the biggest company in the world.
But look what's happening to the economy right now. And the fact what you do too, right?
Yeah.
So why are you still here?
I'm still here because I feel like I have to make a very big, and I kind of know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it yet because a lot of things are in the works.
Yeah.
But whether it was fake love or real love, or like whether people like me or don't like me, I still feel like I owe it to the city, just because a lot of stuff I'm doing stems from the city. Whether it's for my events, whether you supported me personally, whether you just wanted to see some girls, whether you just wanted to get a drink, whatever the case is. At the end of the day, you were still there. And even if you didn't like me, even though you were still there, and I still look at that as support. So with that being said, I feel like you have to have like a reasoning behind your work. And that's kind of why I'm so hard on myself, because I don't see myself stopping at any point. It's more of just like what type of staple or what type of like, can I actually make myself legendary in a sense? And I feel like you kind of have to do that with your city. As much as you have to, of course, leave and spend times in certain areas, a few years, whatever the case is in certain areas. Like I do see myself leaving again at one point, like even during COVID, I was probably gone, majority of the year. There's points, like even though I live here, I'm probably still here like 6 months.
Really, I live here, man. That's what's making me ask you that question, because this world's big.
Yeah,
Obviously,
and that's what I'm glad you said that. Like, yeah, to anybody else, don't be scared to, especially if you're young, like get out there and see the world, especially when you're young. Like make the mistakes while you're young, see the world while you're young, spend the money while you're young, because it opens up your eyes to understanding like, yeah, the world's big. There's a lot of avenues. There's a lot of ways to make money in different places, and just finding out what's right for you and what your niche is. But back to your question, why am I still here? Yeah, man, like there's still a part of me that loves the city, despite all the bullshit that we're going through now, despite everything people are saying now and how hard it is actually to make it out this city. And me going to other cities made me realize that, and that's kind of why I feel like I actually thrive sometimes when I go to other cities, because being from Toronto, Canada, you have to work twice as hard. So when you go to these other cities, like you have that same like grind in you, that same mentality, you actually flourish in these other places a lot, because one, our population's lower in Toronto, Canada. It's like for as big as we are, our population is nothing compared to like the state of California is almost like what, like almost Canada's population, almost probably.
Yeah.
So
does it feel like that when you're out there?
Yeah, it does. So with that being said, when you bring this like this work ethic to these other places, there's so much like money and people that you could be bringing back to, that where when you do make that move, you'd be surprised. And I see it firsthand, whether it's myself, some of these guys that I know, when they made that transition to just like leave Canada, they're doing fine. Some they're doing their thing in these other places. And I really feel like people should actually give the guys from Toronto or from Canada, actually we can get bigger respect, because we don't have a lot coming in here, even if it's a celebrity. Like you could be on, let's go back to planning events, or even as a promoter, you can even bring it a little bit smaller. If you're a promoter in Toronto and a promoter in Miami, that's two different things. You can be taking photos with basketball players, rappers, artists, whoever you are in mind, because it's just normal out there. So they're just there. And I can help you build a brand for yourself. If you're a venue owner and you have LeBron James, this, that, and the third, big MJ, Steph Curry, whoever, coming to your venue and you're taking photos of this. That's a like brand awareness now for your venue, as opposed to someone in Toronto where we don't have that as much. That's why whenever these guys do come to the city, it's more big chip, because we don't have that. It's not normal. So when we do have that, people kind of gravitate towards it a little bit more.
So how would I get a LeBron to come to my venue? Like say about the money to make LeBron come, like what? Like how do I get a LeBron or a Steph Curry to the venue? Like can you make that happen?
You gotta do it. The best thing's relationships.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people. Actually, I'm not gonna speak for like them in particular. There's a lot of people who I have made things happen, and the most important thing in like that industry, at least, is I won't say necessarily as much in like relationships matter no matter what, but entertainment, I feel like relationships matter the most. In other places, more of like your work really speaks for itself, which is why I kind of gravitated towards a lot of these things, because if you're doing good, your work will get its recognition. Not almost anything, but I find it more in like the tech and such. In entertainment, relationships go a long way. So before even having the money to put up for some of these guys, if you do have a relationship, like that's of course number one to get them here. And the best way is like if they already have to be here. Maybe they already, whether it's an athlete or an artist, they already have a show out here or something, and like you have like maybe it's not them directly, maybe it's their management, their DJ, their best friend, whoever the case is, and you're already cool with that person. That's kind of like a way to leverage it and get them over, because a lot of these guys sometimes like they go with like their Miami and like their Dubai pricing and their LA pricing, thinking that they could charge the biggest venues in the world the same price that you're gonna charge a smaller city like Toronto. So like sometimes, like a lot of times, guys will try to make it work. But I feel like as a celebrity athlete, whatever you are, you kind of gotta compromise in certain senses because you gotta understand too, like you have a big fan base in some of these areas and you can't neglect the areas. So if you have like, even if it's not your usual bag, but if you have a bag there waiting for you and this gives you a chance to tap into your fan base, it's like, why not? So obviously don't oversaturate yourself, don't ruin your brand. I get it, of course, but at the same time, you know, here and there when those opportunities are there for you, it's like you kind of have to, because that now you making your footprint over there just made it even bigger for yourself. Now you got to engage with your fans. They feel good. They're posting you. You might need someone who has 100K followers, whatever. Like you were just building a brand in that area. So to get them over here, I feel like they should be more inclined to come over here. And I've kind of seen it throughout the years. Like you've seen it all, like more celebrities and such are coming.
Mostly during Caravana.
Yeah.
Around Caravana, so that's probably like the best time to like if you're gonna.
Yeah.
I get it. Like,
And that's another thing. Why do I love it, man? Summertime. Man, I've been some places. I still love summer in Toronto.
Yeah.
Summertime in Toronto is still a great time to me. Outside of that, like enjoyment wise, obviously working is hard out here, but enjoyment wise, summer in Toronto.
You know, honestly, the multicultural is the only thing that really makes it nice. Like, I really believe that we do have the best women.
Yeah.
Say what I mean? All different types.
Say,
you know what I mean?
when it comes to multicultural, I love it because it's like you could be from any ethnicity, whatever, wherever you are in the world. If you come to Toronto, you're gonna find your flavor. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. So that's what, yeah, you nailed it right there. I love it for that.
When it's all said and done, what do you want your legacy to be?
Legacy to be.
Yeah, like what do you want people to remember you by?
Okay, so I'm not gonna necessarily say how I do it because it's slowly in the works. But what to know me by is someone that was able to employ a lot of people, like landscape, like a lot. I'm not talking just like, you know, hundreds, of like employ like the whole community.
Yeah.
And help people who are less fortunate. Even the business and company that I'm building now is kind of like our first initial rollout was helping rural communities like telecom, people who are neglected in that sense. So back to your question, yeah, to really help employ people on like a really grand scale and just build up their economic value and be known for like changing a lot of lives in that sense. It's kind of what it is. Because it's like if you're not making an impact, you might as well just, you know, retract on your goals a little and just enjoy life.
But it's not. It's true. That's true. And
It's just like, why bother, you know, hurt your head in that sense. But me, because I'm hard on myself, I kind of want that to be like my thing, and I'm not really going to stop until that happens. So.
Okay, so in closing the show, there's one question that I'm asking my guests.
Yep.
And the question is, what's one thing people need to say less and do more?
I mean, as clear as a cliche it might sound, is like, yeah, you need to say less of what you're gonna do and actually do it.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna ask me like precisely what should they do, say less and do
Or one
more?
thing doesn't have to be like, you know, concrete Bible,
Yeah.
but like one thing that you
Dude, I love that name because it's everything. I could even run with that myself. Like, hey, can even like say less, do more, like get the job done. But I mean, what's one thing off the top of my head? Say less of, do more. Less negativity. Stop like pointing fingers. Stop looking for things to blame. Stop looking for people to blame. Take your eyes off the gossip. If someone's ever done you dirty, why speak dirty on them? So less of the negativity. There's so much people who have situations way worse where it's like, that's what keeps me going too. It's like, someone has it way worse than me. Why am I going to sit here and cry and complain about something when there's way less fortunate? So stop the negativity. Stop being hard on people. Stop talking about people bad and just do more of positive stuff. Do more genuine stuff. And it's that genuine stuff that goes a long way.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of times where I've done stuff and I didn't get money for it or whatever the case is, but those are some of like the best relationships that I ended up building where I did end up making money with those speaking. So try to do more good. There's a lot of people who have mixed intentions and ulterior motives and such. So I just try to be one of the guys that just does good. Try to do good things.
Less negativity,
More positive.
more positivity. Yeah, man. I was listening to Gilly the Kid. You heard of Gilly the Kid talk, and he's like, "Yo, man, stay away from the people that are basically negative. The people that are like, you have an idea and you bring it to them, they take that deep breath. Yeah, hey, well, yo, he's just like, yo, stay far away from those people, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, and another thing too, like trial and error is a good thing too, right? But less negativity, more positivity.
Yeah,
I like
that's the big thing right there.
Yo, Kadeem, it was a pleasure. Like real shit.
Haven't been bad.
Yeah, I definitely gonna want to have you back again, in the future, see where you're at, any new ventures, But like again, as I said, it was my pleasure to have you on the show, man. Thank you for coming on.
Appreciate having me, man. Thanks for the invite anytime.
All right.
Kept me hungry, kept me humble. What kept me on point was the bad mind amongst. Made me mind my business. It kept my mind on money. And Riggsy told me